Today, we'll talk about the final annual service in the Israelite tabernacle. This information comes to us from Leviticus chapter 16. We read in verse 34. This is to be a lasting ordinance for you. Atonement is to be made once a year for all the sins of the Israelites. This ritual was for all the sins of the Israelites. It is true that all along the year, individuals were forgiven for their sins through this sacrificial service. But apparently, there was a need for a day of final and global cleansing. And this day was known as the Yom Kippur. On that day, one bull and a ram was sacrificed as sin offerings. The high priest would go into the most holy room of the tabernacle only on this day to sprinkle the blood over the cover of the ark. At some point during the service, the sins of the people were transferred over a living ram, which was then removed from the camp, sent into the desert with no possibility of returning. This day symbolizes, among many other things, the final resolution of the sin problem. As believers, you and I, we confess and repent daily. The sacrifice of Jesus is enough for us to receive salvation and forgiveness. But you will agree with me that the sin problem remains a current reality in our lives and in the world today. The good news is there is in God's plan a final and ultimate cleansing, a day of atonement. The question is, how should we prepare for the final atonement? The Israelites provides a good example to us. On that day, they denied themselves and they made this day a day of rest. The Hebrew word for deny, ana, carries the sense of humbling oneself. They acknowledge themselves as sinners, mortal, and dependent beings during this day. They acknowledge God as the creator, owner, and redeemer. The idea of rest is very interesting. It does not relate to extensive napping or sunbathing, but to a time of intensive communion with God. Dear friends, as we prepare for the final atonement, a spirit of humility and improved relationship with God are what we need. Read the Bible and grow daily.